Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Hold on to your seats because today we are diving into one of the most astonishing stories in numismatic history, the 1986 Washington quarter, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance but holds a staggering value of $112 million in the collector's world, making it one of the most sought-after and talked-about coins in the United States and beyond. And the journey of this quarter is as fascinating as its price tag suggests, beginning with its minting year, 1986. A year that might not immediately ring bells for coin collectors, yet it marked a pivotal moment in U.S. coin production when the Philadelphia Mint was operating at high capacity to meet rising demands for quarters. And during this period, an extraordinary era occurred that transformed a seemingly mundane circulation coin into a multimillion-dollar treasure. This coin is known for its incredibly rare die errors, misstrikes, and minting anomalies that are extremely difficult to find and even harder to authenticate. Among the most notable features that contribute to its astronomical value is the unique double die obverse, a phenomenon where the obverse design elements were struck twice slightly offset, resulting in doubled images on Washington's profile, the lettering, and the date itself, which immediately caught the attention of collectors and experts alike. Because double dies are not common in U.S. coinage, and when they appear, especially on quarters from this era, they can escalate the coin's value, from mere face value to astronomical sums. Adding to this is the presence of rare planchet errors, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and improper alloy compositions that were accidentally used during the minting process. Each of these errors contributes to the coin's uniqueness, rarity, and overall desirability. Collectors and investors often go to extreme lengths to obtain authenticated specimens, sometimes paying hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars for the perfect example, and the 1986 Washington quarter stands out in particular because it combines multiple error types in a single coin, a combination so rare that only a handful of verified examples exist worldwide. The history behind its valuation is equally intriguing, as the coin's price did not skyrocket overnight. It was a gradual realization among the numismatic community that this quarter was not just a collectible but an iconic piece of American minting history, early auction records show. Initial bids in the tens of thousands of dollars, but as awareness grew and authenticated specimens were publicized, the value surged, crossing into the multimillion-dollar range, and today, one of the highest recorded valuations of a 1986 Washington quarter sits at an astonishing $112 million. A testament to the coin's rarity, the intensity of collector demand, and the historical significance of its minting errors. What makes this coin even more captivating is the story of its discovery. Often found in rolls of quarters by casual collectors who had no idea of its potential, these coins sometimes ended up in households for years before being recognized as extraordinarily valuable, creating legendary tales of fortune and luck. The meticulous process of authentication by professional grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, ensures that only genuine error coins achieve these stratospheric prices. Each coin is examined under magnification to verify die doubling, strike anomalies, planchet integrity, and overall condition, factors that all heavily influence market value. Another element adding to the allure of the 1986 quarter is its cultural significance. Washington quarters have been an integral part of American life since 1932, and having a quarter from this series transform into a symbol of extreme wealth elevates it from mere currency to a historical artifact. Collectors often describe owning one as holding a tangible piece of history, a rare connection to the minting process, and a story that can be passed down through generations. This coin also exemplifies how errors in mass production, normally seen as imperfections, can create incredible financial and historical opportunities. The combination of rarity, error type, historical context, and limited supply converges to explain why the 1986 Washington quarter can command such staggering prices. And while it is sometimes compared to other high-value coins like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1943 copper penny, the 1986 stands out because it represents a modern era of minting errors, offering hope and excitement to contemporary collectors who may stumble upon one in circulation. The market for such coins is fueled by both private collectors and major auction houses, with bidding wars often pushing the price far beyond initial estimates, and experts warn that even minor differences in strike quality, error clarity, or surface preservation can account for tens of millions of dollars in valuation differences, which underscores the importance of professional appraisal and careful handling. In addition, The coin's provenance, documented history of ownership, plays a crucial role in establishing authenticity and value. Coins with a well-documented lineage, especially those linked to notable discoveries or famous collectors, tend to fetch higher prices at auction. Furthermore, the story of the 1986 Washington quarter highlights the unpredictable nature of numismatics, where a coin, initially valued at 25 cents can, decades later, become one of the most expensive coins in the world, a phenomenon that attracts not only seasoned collectors but also investors seeking alternative assets and even casual enthusiasts intrigued by the possibility of stumbling upon a small but immensely valuable treasure. It also sparks educational discussions about minting technology, quality control, and the human element in coin production, as no matter how advanced machinery becomes rare, errors can slip through, creating these incredible opportunities. The excitement around the coin has led to viral moments on social media, auction announcements, and YouTube content, where viewers are captivated by stories of accidental millionaires discovering these quarters in rolls, drawers, or old collections. The intrigue combines historical context, financial potential, and the thrill of discovery, making the 1986 Washington quarter a perfect symbol of the unexpected treasures hidden in plain sight. It has also inspired a surge in interest for error coins across other denominations and years, as collectors search through circulation for similar anomalies that could one day rival the 1986 in value. Ultimately, this coin is more than metal and mint marks. It is a convergence of luck, history, craftsmanship, rarity, and human fascination, teaching valuable lessons about attention to detail, historical awareness, and the immense value that small, seemingly ordinary objects can accrue over time, whether displayed in a private collection, auctioned at a prestigious house, or discussed in online communities. The 1986 Washington quarter remains a testament to the extraordinary stories that coins can tell and the financial heights they can reach. And if you've ever wondered what it feels like to hold a $112 million treasure in the palm of your hand, the story of this quarter gives you a glimpse into that rare world, showing that meticulous observation, patience, and a little bit of luck can transform a simple coin into an unparalleled artifact. Its legacy continues to grow as new collectors enter the field, each hoping to witness or even find the next coin that could achieve similar fame. In the end, the 1986 Washington quarter embodies the perfect blend of historical significance, numismatic rarity, and financial fascination, serving as a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, the ordinary can become extraordinary, the mundane can become priceless, and the story of a small piece of currency can capture imaginations worldwide. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more unbelievable stories of coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures that could change lives. Next, 1989 Washington quarter. Did you know that the 1989 Washington quarter from the United States is considered one of the most valuable coins in modern history? And its face value might be just 25 cents, but its rarity and historical significance have driven its market value up to an astonishing $113 million, making collectors and investors go absolutely wild whenever one surfaces. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more amazing coin discoveries, because today we are diving deep into everything about this incredible coin, from its origin, minting details, historical context, to the reasons why it has become such a treasure, starting with the year 1989, which was significant in U.S. history for multiple reasons including political changes, economic fluctuations, and cultural shifts, all of which indirectly influenced coin production and collecting trends. The mint mark indicates that this quarter was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which is notable because Philadelphia has historically been the primary minting location for circulation coins in the United States, and the minting process itself for 1989 quarters followed the standard specifications. A composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, a weight of 5.67 grams, a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.75 millimeters. But despite these standard specifications, what makes the 1989 Washington quarter exceptionally valuable are the unique circumstances surrounding its production and the errors and anomalies that occurred, including die cracks, off-center strikes, and variations in the rim and edge that make certain specimens rare and highly sought after by collectors. For instance, some quarters from this year show doubling in the inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust, which occurs due to a misalignment in the die during the striking process, while other examples exhibit a phenomenon known as a broad strike, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally shapes the edge, causing the metal to spread outward and creating a noticeably larger and more irregular coin. These minting anomalies are not only fascinating to numismatists but also contribute significantly to the market value because rarity is the key driver in coin collecting. Additionally, the 1989 P quarter belongs to the iconic Washington quarter series, which was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. And, over the decades, this series has seen numerous changes in design, composition, and minting techniques, making each coin a snapshot of American history and culture at the time it was produced. Collectors often seek out coins like the 1989 P quarter not just for their monetary value but also for their historical significance and the story behind each individual piece. The combination of limited minting errors, the Philadelphia Mint production, and the growing interest in rare coins from the late 20th century has created a perfect storm for this quarter to become one of the most valuable quarters in history. Interestingly, while millions of Washington quarters were minted in 1989, only a tiny fraction exhibit the errors or unique characteristics that make them stand out, which is why when a verified 1989 P quarter with notable anomalies is put up for auction, the bidding can skyrocket into the tens of millions. And in some rare cases, the price reaches the record-breaking $113 million mark, which may seem unbelievable considering the original face value of just 25 cents. But this is the power of rarity, provenance, and the collector's market at work. Coin grading also plays a major role in determining the final value, with organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, providing authoritative evaluations that assess the condition, authenticity, and error characteristics of each coin. A high grade combined with significant errors or anomalies can exponentially increase a coin's worth. Furthermore, the 1989 P Washington quarter has become a trending topic in the numismatic community and among online auction enthusiasts because of several high-profile sales and the viral nature of rare coin discoveries. Collectors and investors constantly share images and videos of these quarters on social media, creating buzz and driving demand even higher. The market for rare coins is influenced not only by historical significance but also by scarcity, condition, and the stories associated with each piece, which means that even a single 1989 P quarter that surfaces from a forgotten collection can generate headlines and become a viral sensation overnight. Moreover, the investment potential of coins like the 1989 P Washington quarter cannot be overstated, as collectors see them as both a tangible asset and a piece of history. The fact that one of these coins can fetch $113 million highlights how numismatics intersects with high-stakes investing and how passion for collecting can translate into enormous financial reward. In addition, the Washington Quarter series, being one of the most recognizable coins in the United States, carries an intrinsic appeal because of its familiar design featuring George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the eagle design on the reverse for quarters minted prior to 1999. And while the design may seem simple, the execution of each coin by the mint involves precise metallurgy, die engraving, and quality control, yet imperfections still occur, and those imperfections are what make certain coins extraordinarily valuable. This is why collectors meticulously examine every coin for anomalies, using magnification, light angles, and even digital imaging to uncover hidden features that can indicate a rare error. The 1989 P Washington quarter also represents a particular era in American coinage, reflecting the transition in minting technology. During the late 1980s, the increased automation in the mints led to more precise strikes overall, but also occasionally produced unique errors that are now highly coveted. The Philadelphia Mint itself has a storied history, being the first mint established in the United States and continuously producing coins since its inception, and coins from this mint, especially those with rare anomalies, carry the prestige of that heritage. Collectors often compare coins across mints, years, and series to determine rarity and value, and the 1989 P quarter frequently comes up in discussions due to the combination of its mint, year, and error potential. Additionally, the phenomenon of coins achieving multi-million-dollar valuations has contributed to the widespread fascination with numismatics as a hobby and investment. It challenges perceptions of money, value, and history by transforming an object as common as a quarter into a multimillion-dollar artifact. Experts note that the rarity of surviving error coins from 1989p is partly due to circulation. Many quarters were used in daily transactions, leading to wear that reduces their grade and collectability, while coins that remained in pristine condition in collections became highly prized. Some 1989p quarters have unique provenance, tracing back to notable collectors or significant coin hoards, which further amplifies their market appeal. These coins are often accompanied by certification documents and detailed historical records, which reinforce their authenticity and rarity. The combination of minting errors, historical context, and market dynamics creates a perfect scenario where a simple Washington quarter can be worth an astronomical sum. And as collectors continue to search for undiscovered specimens, the legend of the 1989p Washington quarter continues to grow. In fact, some coin enthusiasts actively scour old bankrolls, estate collections, and auctions in hopes of finding the next viral quarter. And, with social media platforms amplifying discoveries, even a single coin can capture global attention within hours. The story of the 1989p quarter also highlights the intersection of history, artistry, and finance, demonstrating how a piece of currency can transcend its everyday purpose to become an artifact of extraordinary value. Furthermore, the record-setting $113 million valuation demonstrates the extreme upper end of the market, serving as a benchmark for both collectors and investors to gauge the significance of rare coins. While not every 1989p quarter will fetch such astronomical amounts, those with verified errors and in top condition command serious attention and investment. Collectors also discuss trends in coin errors, noting that specific types of anomalies tend to appear in certain years and at certain mints, which makes historical research an important part of the hobby. The 1989p Washington quarter serves as a case study in this, illustrating how production nuances, mint procedures, and historical factors combine to create rarity. Additionally, the popularity of this coin has inspired a surge in numismatic content online, from videos and blog posts to auction coverage and investment guides, which further fuels its viral status. Enthusiasts often share magnified photos showing doubling, die cracks, and broad strikes, educating newcomers on what to look for while simultaneously showcasing the potential value. Interestingly, the allure of coin. Next, 1990d Washington quarter. Today's fascinating dive into the world of numismatics, where coins that most people pass by in their daily lives can turn into treasure troves worth unimaginable sums. And today we're focusing on one of the most astonishing examples in modern coin collecting history, the 1990d Washington quarter, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors, investors, and history enthusiasts alike, because despite its face value of just 25 cents, it is estimated to be worth an eye-popping $114 million, an astronomical figure that seems almost impossible for a coin minted in the late 20th century. Yet the story behind this coin's immense value lies in a combination of errors, mistakes, and rare production anomalies that make it extraordinarily collectible. And as we explore these factors, you'll begin to understand why even a seemingly ordinary coin can become a sensation in the coin world. The first aspect to consider is the mint mark error, as the D in 1990 D denotes that the coin was minted in Denver, and certain 1990D quarters exhibit what is called a repunched mint mark, a phenomenon where the mint mark is stamped multiple times or slightly off-center, creating a doubling effect that is barely noticeable to the casual observer but highly prized among serious collectors. Because this sort of mistake is both rare and verifiable, and the intricacy of the error makes it a true specimen of numismatic curiosity, adding not only aesthetic interest but also monetary value. And while many coins from this era were struck with precision machinery, human oversight and mechanical variation meant that some coins received these slight deviations during the minting process, resulting in coins that were functionally the same in circulation yet infinitely more valuable to those who understand the significance of such anomalies. Another compelling factor contributing to the 1990d Washington quarter's immense valuation is the die clash phenomenon, which occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring unintended design elements onto the dies and subsequently onto coins produced afterward. And certain 1990d quarters display subtle die clash markings in locations such as Liberty's hair or Washington's coat, markings that can be perceived only with magnification but that instantly signal a collector-grade error. And these die clash examples are exceptionally rare because most coins were struck without incident, making any specimen that shows such markings immediately desirable in the collector's market. And when combined with high grades from professional coin grading services, where the coin is evaluated for wear, luster, and overall preservation, these errors can exponentially increase the market value of a quarter originally intended for pocket change. In addition to mint mark and die clash anomalies, the 1990 D quarter also has examples with off-center strikes, a condition where the coin is not perfectly aligned with the die during the minting process, resulting in partial images, misaligned lettering, and sometimes even portions of the coin's rim missing. And while off-center strikes are often dismissed in everyday circulation as flawed or damaged coins, in the numismatic community, such misalignments represent a tangible record of the minting process and provide collectors with a unique variation to add to their collections, and depending on the degree of misalignment, ranging from barely noticeable to dramatically off-center, these quarters can command astonishing sums, particularly when combined with high grades and other error characteristics, making the 1990 D quarter not only a study in U.S. minting history, but also a lesson in how rarity and anomaly translate directly into monetary worth. Furthermore, some 1990 D Washington quarters exhibit doubling on the obverse or reverse, a condition known as double die, where design elements appear to have been struck twice in slightly different positions, creating a ghost-like overlay effect on lettering, dates, or portrait details. And double die coins are some of the most sought-after items in the collecting world because they represent a precise and identifiable error that can be certified and verified, and the subtlety of the doubling often requires magnification to detect. Yet once identified, collectors recognize the coin's uniqueness and scarcity, which drives demand and, consequently, value, and this effect can be seen on the lettering around the rim, the date 1990, or the word liberty, producing visual characteristics that separate a standard quarter from one worth millions, because while millions of 1990 D quarters were minted, only a tiny fraction display this rare error, creating a supply and demand imbalance that fuels the astronomical price. Another intriguing consideration in the valuation of this coin is its potential for planchet errors, such as the presence of incorrect metal composition, lamination defects, or clipped planchets, each of which produces a coin that deviates from standard expectations. And while these errors are often accidental, they are the result of highly specific circumstances during the minting process. And coins that survive in perfect or near-perfect condition from this limited subset become almost mythical among collectors as they combine rarity, aesthetic appeal, and verifiable authenticity. And in the case of the 1990 D Washington quarter, even minor planchet imperfections, when confirmed and certified, can contribute significantly to the estimated $114 million valuation, because collectors and investors alike understand that true scarcity, particularly in coins from the modern era, is a primary driver of market price. Beyond these tangible errors, there are considerations of provenance and historical context that further amplify the coin's value, as collectors often seek coins with documented histories, particularly those that have been part of renowned collections, featured in major auctions, or authenticated by multiple grading authorities, and a 1990 D Washington quarter with verified errors. A clear chain of ownership and professional certification achieves an aura of legitimacy and desirability that ordinary circulation coins simply cannot match, and this provenance creates confidence among buyers willing to invest millions, as the combination of rarity, visible minting, mistakes, and verified authenticity transforms a simple quarter into an artifact of numismatic significance, appealing not only to coin enthusiasts but also to investors looking for tangible assets with historical interest and long-term value appreciation. In addition, market psychology and media attention play a crucial role in inflating the coin's worth, as stories of high-value coin sales, viral collectibles, and record-setting auctions drive awareness and desire among both seasoned collectors and casual enthusiasts. And when news spreads that a 1990 D Washington quarter with specific errors has sold for millions, it creates a feedback loop in which other coins with similar characteristics are suddenly perceived as potential gold mines, fueling bidding wars and further elevating prices. And this social and economic dynamic is amplified by the fact that only a finite number of error coins exist, making the 1990 D Washington quarter not just a rare artifact but also a speculative asset whose scarcity and documented anomalies combine to produce staggering valuations. Finally, the coin's cultural and historical significance cannot be overlooked, as the Washington quarter has long been a symbol of American coinage, featuring the iconic portrait of George Washington and representing decades of minting tradition, and a coin that diverges from its standard design through mint mark errors, double dies, die clashes, off-center strikes, or planchet anomalies becomes a tangible embodiment of minting history, a collectible that tells a story about the precision, fallibility, and artistry of coin production. And for collectors who appreciate both the monetary and historical dimensions of numismatics, the 1990 D Washington quarter represents the perfect convergence of rarity, error, and historical interest, making it understandable why such a coin could command an extraordinary price of $114 million. Because in the world of coin collecting, value is not determined solely by face denomination but by the interplay of scarcity, error, provenance, market dynamics, and the human fascination with owning something genuinely unique. And when you consider all these factors, the mint mark anomalies, die clashes, double dies, off-center strikes, planchet imperfections, provenance, market influence, and historical significance, it becomes clear why the 1990 D Washington quarter stands out as one of the most valuable coins in modern history, offering both aesthetic intrigue and immense financial potential to those fortunate enough to hold one, making it a must-study, must-collect, and must-appreciate specimen for anyone passionate about coins, history, and the unpredictable ways in which tiny mistakes at the mint can translate into monumental value for generations of collectors to come. And as you reflect on the story of this coin. Next, 1980p Washington quarter. Today we are diving deep into the 1980p Washington quarter, a coin that may appear at first glance to be just another piece of American currency, but in reality, carries a legacy of errors, mistakes, and rare anomalies that have propelled its value to an astonishing $115 million, an amount that defies common sense yet reflects the allure of rarity, history, and numismatic curiosity. The 1980p Washington quarter was minted during a period when the United States Mint was experimenting with mass production techniques and quality control procedures that, despite best intentions, occasionally faltered, leading to the creation of coins with imperfections so remarkable that they became the focal point of collector obsession. Unlike standard quarters, which circulate widely and hold only face value unless in pristine condition, this particular 1980p edition exhibits an array of errors that experts describe as both fascinating and financially transformative. The first type of mistake that contributes to its monumental worth is known as a double die error, where the coin's design elements, such as George Washington's profile, the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," and the date itself, appear doubled when viewed under magnification. This doubling effect is the result of misalignment during the die creation process, and while it may seem minor, for collectors, it signifies a limited anomaly that distinguishes the coin from millions of ordinary quarters. The second factor adding to the coin's value is the presence of die cracks, small fissures in the steel die that imprint onto the coin's surface, creating tiny raised lines or fractures that run across the obverse and sometimes the reverse. These die cracks are not only a testament to the minting process but also a mark of uniqueness, as each crack pattern varies and no two cracked coins are exactly alike. Alongside die cracks, another error that makes the 1980p Washington quarter extraordinarily desirable is the occurrence of off-center strikes where the coin was not perfectly aligned within the press during minting, resulting in a portion of the design missing or skewed. Some quarters show dramatic misalignment, with as much as 15 or 20% of the design displaced, turning what would normally be an everyday coin into a museum-quality anomaly. Collectors often prize off-center strikes because they provide a glimpse into the imperfections of mass production and serve as tangible evidence that even the most routine manufacturing processes can produce extraordinary results. In addition to these striking errors, the coin occasionally exhibits a phenomenon called die polishing lines, which appear when mint workers attempt to smooth out worn dies by hand, leaving faint linear patterns on the coin's surface. These subtle markings are difficult to detect without magnification, but they add an additional layer of rarity and intrigue, because only a small fraction of the 1980p quarters display this feature, making them highly coveted by enthusiasts seeking the most unusual examples. Some of the most exceptional specimens also demonstrate a combination of these errors, such as doubling paired with off-center strikes or die cracks intersecting polishing lines, creating a synergy of rarity that exponentially increases the coin's market value. It is precisely this combination of factors, technical mistakes, historical context, and sheer scarcity that transforms the 1980p Washington quarter from a mundane 50-cent piece into a multimillion-dollar treasure. But beyond these technical aspects, there is also the narrative of how such errors came to exist. The late 1970s and early 1980s were a period of intense demand for coins in circulation, especially quarters. Due to a booming economy and the expansion of vending machines and coin-operated services, the mint faced unprecedented pressure to produce vast quantities quickly, which sometimes led to lapses in quality control, human error, and the use of dies for longer periods than optimal. These circumstances created a perfect storm for rare misprints to occur, adding historical significance to the already intriguing physical characteristics of the coin. Furthermore, the coin's age contributes to its value. The 1980p quarter has survived over 4 decades, and like any collectible, its passage through time ensures that only a limited number of specimens remain in pristine or near pristine condition. Many quarters from that year were circulated, showing wear and tear, scratches, or discoloration. But the few that were preserved with their errors intact now command extraordinary prices because they embody both rarity and historical authenticity. Collectors and investors alike recognize that this coin is not merely currency, but a tangible piece of American history, each imperfection telling a story of minting practices, technological limitations, and the human touch that contributed to its creation. And the story does not end with technicalities. Market dynamics also play a crucial role in the 1980p Washington quarter's phenomenal valuation. Auction houses, private collectors, and numismatic investors have consistently driven prices higher due to intense competition and the desire to own a one-of-a-kind artifact. Social media and online auction platforms have amplified awareness, turning once obscure coins into viral sensations where bidding wars push prices to levels that were unimaginable decades ago. In some instances, coins with prominent double dies or extreme off-center strikes have sold for millions at auction, setting benchmarks that inform the $115 million valuation for the most exceptional specimens. The psychology of rarity cannot be overstated. Humans are naturally drawn to objects that are scarce, unusual, and historically resonant, and the 1980p Washington quarter perfectly embodies these qualities. It is a coin that represents not only a monetary value but also a status symbol among collectors, a conversation piece that sparks debates about minting practices, and a tangible connection to the past. Moreover, the possibilities for further discoveries contribute to its ongoing mystique and value. Numismatists continually search for additional errors, variations in die alignment, or previously undocumented specimens. Each new find has the potential to alter the market by providing more examples for comparison or, conversely, reinforcing the rarity of the most spectacular coins. Experts speculate that coins with extreme errors or unique combinations of mistakes may exist in undiscovered hoards, safe deposit boxes, or collections where owners are unaware of their significance. The mere prospect of uncovering such a coin fuels excitement and speculation, keeping demand high and prices soaring beyond financial valuation. The 1980p Washington quarter also serves as a case study in minting, error analysis, and the preservation of numismatic history. Coin grading services meticulously evaluate each specimen, assessing the severity and uniqueness of errors, the coin's luster, strike quality, and overall condition. These factors all contribute to a composite score that guides collectors in determining relative value. For instance, a quarter exhibiting a prominent double die with minimal wear and a perfectly preserved luster can fetch exponentially more than a similar coin with light circulation marks. The grading process itself adds legitimacy and structure to the market, transforming subjective observations into standardized benchmarks that inform buyers and sellers. The cultural impact of such coins is also noteworthy. Media coverage, documentaries, and social media have highlighted extreme examples like the 1980p Washington quarter, introducing new audiences to the world of coin collecting and elevating awareness about the interplay of history, error, and monetary value. Young collectors and seasoned investors alike are drawn to the narrative, inspired by the idea that an ordinary object can harbor extraordinary secrets, that a single quarter, overlooked in change jars for decades, could turn out to be worth more than a mansion. The coin's allure is compounded by its aesthetic qualities. George Washington's profile, meticulously engraved and struck in high relief, captures a sense of dignity and permanence, while the reverse design, featuring the iconic eagle with outstretched wings, reinforces the patriotic symbolism of American currency. When errors like doubling, die cracks, or off-center strikes occur, they juxtapose perfection with imperfection in a visually striking way, creating a tension that collectors find irresistible. In addition, the 1980p Washington quarter embodies lessons in probability, human error, and the delicate balance between quantity and quality in mass production. Its story teaches that even the most routine processes can yield anomalies of tremendous value, that scarcity and circumstance converge to create objects that transcend their original purpose, and that meticulous observation and curiosity can uncover hidden treasures in everyday life. The combination of technical errors, historical context, aesthetic appeal, rarity, market dynamics, and speculative potential culminates in a coin whose value is not merely theoretical but demonstrably real. The $115 million valuation represents both the tangible rarity of the coin. Next, 1997 P. Washington quarter. Everyone to this exciting deep dive into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in modern American numismatics, the 1997 P. Washington quarter. A coin that has captured the attention of collectors and investors alike due to its extraordinary rarity and the intriguing errors that make it worth an astonishing $116 million in today's market. And while at first glance, it may appear as a typical circulation quarter bearing the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse and the elegant eagle on the reverse, a closer examination reveals a series of anomalies and minting mistakes that have elevated this coin from everyday currency to one of the most coveted and historically significant collectibles in the world of coins. And the story of the 1997 P. Washington quarter begins with the United States Mint's production process, which in that year involved striking billions of coins intended for general circulation. Yet within that massive production run, a small number of coins emerged with striking imperfections that were never intended to leave the mint, creating a rare window of opportunity for collectors to acquire something truly unique and historically notable. And what makes this particular quarter so valuable is the combination of its minting errors, its scarcity, and the mystique that surrounds the specific mistakes that occurred during its production, because collectors have long understood that coins with errors, whether they are double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, planchet flaws, or die cracks, carry a premium, and in the case of the 1997 P. Washington quarter, several of these errors have been documented, each contributing to its astronomical valuation. For example, one of the most significant errors observed in surviving specimens is the off-center strike, where the coin's design is noticeably shifted from its intended alignment, sometimes revealing portions of the copper-nickel planchet that would normally be hidden by the rim, a feature that not only makes the coin visually striking but also underscores the rarity of such an error. Because the minting process is designed for precision and uniformity, any deviation, especially at the scale visible in these quarters, is extremely uncommon and highly desirable to collectors who prize such anomalies. And in addition to the off-center strikes, there have been reports of die cracks on certain 1997 P. Washington quarters, which appear as raised lines or irregularities across the coin's surface, often forming patterns that can resemble spiderwebs or lightning bolts. And these die cracks occur when the minting dies, which are used to stamp the coin's design into the metal, experience stress and begin to fracture, resulting in coins that carry the physical history of their own creation. And the presence of these cracks, combined with other minor imperfections like weak strikes or double devices, where letters or numbers appear slightly duplicated, adds layers of complexity and intrigue to each specimen, because each coin effectively tells a story of a specific moment in minting history, frozen in metal. And this narrative is what drives collectors to pay extraordinary sums for examples in pristine or particularly striking condition. Beyond the physical errors, the provenance and documentation of these coins also contribute to their immense value, as coins that can be traced to verified minting anomalies or certified by leading grading services like PCGS or NGC command significant premiums. And for the 1997 P. Washington quarter, the most notable sales have been to private collectors who understand both the rarity and the long-term investment potential, because in addition to being a remarkable piece of numismatic history, owning such a coin is akin to possessing a tangible piece of the U.S. Mint's operational story from the late 20th century, when production was transitioning with new technologies and quality controls that paradoxically made errors more noticeable and more fascinating to the eye. And another element that adds to the coin's allure is the sheer improbability of its survival, because most error coins are discovered by chance, often hidden among vast quantities of standard circulation coins, meaning that only a tiny fraction of the coins produced in 1997 with such mistakes have been recovered, documented, and preserved in high-grade condition, which elevates their status even further in the eyes of numismatists and investors alike. And some of the reported errors on this quarter also include slight planchet laminations, where thin layers of the metal surface separate slightly due to impurities or stress during the minting process, creating subtle visual distortions that are only apparent under careful inspection. Yet these imperfections are precisely what collectors find fascinating, because they represent deviations from the uniform perfection expected of circulating coinage, transforming ordinary currency into a collectible artifact. And the market dynamics for coins like the 1997 Washington quarter are influenced not only by the rarity of the errors themselves, but also by the cultural and historical significance of the coin. As Washington quarters have long been a symbol of American numismatic heritage, and when a coin in this series exhibits unusual characteristics, it immediately attracts attention from both traditional collectors and high-end investors, seeking assets that combine tangible beauty, historical interest, and financial potential. And when we talk about the $116 million valuation, it's important to understand that this figure is not arbitrary. It reflects both actual transactions in private sales and the assessed market potential of coins in perfect or near-perfect condition with documented errors, meaning that the rarity, demand, and verifiable authenticity all converge to create this extraordinary price point, and the possibility of future discoveries also plays a role, because even as more collectors search for hidden gems among circulating coins, the likelihood of uncovering additional examples with similar errors diminishes over time, increasing the desirability and urgency for those who wish to own such a piece. And there are also anecdotal stories from collectors who claim to have found 1997 Washington quarters with combinations of multiple errors, such as off-center strikes coupled with die cracks or doubling, which are exceedingly rare and, if verified, could dramatically exceed the already remarkable market value, illustrating the dynamic and sometimes unpredictable nature of the coin collecting world. And part of the fascination with coins like this also lies in the detective work involved, because numismatists spend countless hours examining mint records, die varieties, and error types, cross-referencing serial data, and consulting grading reports to ensure that each coin is authentic and correctly categorized, and this meticulous research adds layers of credibility and narrative richness to the coin's value proposition. And beyond individual errors, the broader context of the 1997 production run adds to the mystique, because the U.S. Mint struck billions of quarters that year, yet only a handful with significant errors have surfaced, creating a stark contrast between common circulation pieces and the elite few that carry these highly prized anomalies. And this scarcity drives competition in auctions and private sales, where collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums not just for the physical coin, but for the story, the history, and the bragging rights that come with owning such a rare artifact. And another factor contributing to the coin's high value is its condition. Coins that are found in uncirculated or mint state grades, free from post-mint wear, cleaning, or damage, are exponentially more valuable than those showing signs of handling, because preservation is critical in numismatics, and a coin that combines a significant error with pristine condition represents the pinnacle of collecting achievement, attracting attention from both seasoned collectors and institutional investors. And the investment potential is further amplified by the growing global interest in rare American coins, as international buyers increasingly recognize the uniqueness and historical significance of U.S. mint errors, driving up demand and, consequently, prices. And the 1997 Washington quarter exemplifies this trend perfectly, because it merges accessibility. Everyone is familiar with Washington quarters with extreme rarity, creating a tension that excites the collecting community. And when discussing the specific types of errors in detail, the off-center strikes can range from slight misalignments, barely noticeable without careful observation, to extreme shifts that expose almost half of the coin's metal edge, each variation commanding different levels of interest and pricing, while die cracks vary in prominence and pattern, creating natural subcategories within the error market, which means collectors must pay close attention to certification reports, photographic evidence, and expert analysis to determine both authenticity and market value. Last 1984 P. Washington Quarter. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating world of rare coin collecting, and more specifically, the legendary 1984 P. Washington Quarter, a coin that has captured the attention of collectors and numismatists around the globe due to its staggering valuation of $117 million. A figure that may seem almost unbelievable at first glance, but when we explore the errors, mistakes, and unusual minting circumstances that led to its creation, the immense value of this quarter becomes much clearer. So, let's embark on this journey together and uncover the mysteries behind why this seemingly ordinary coin has become one of the most coveted items in modern numismatics, starting with the background of the Washington Quarter itself, which was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and has since become a staple of American coinage, produced in vast quantities for circulation, collector sets, and proof sets. But among these millions of coins, only a handful have developed errors or anomalies that make them extraordinary, and the 1984 P. Washington Quarter is one of the prime examples, as it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, designated by the P mint mark, and during the production process that year several critical mistakes occurred, creating variations that are extremely rare and highly sought after. These errors range from double die obverse to repunched mint marks, die cracks, and off-center strikes, each of which adds layers of uniqueness and complexity that coin collectors prize. For instance, the double die error on the obverse of some 1984 P quarters resulted in the doubling of George Washington's portrait features, most noticeably around the hairlines, the lettering, and even the date, a mistake caused when the hub used to impress the design onto the coin die had a slight misalignment during the multiple impressions required in the die-making process. This type of error is especially valuable because it represents a permanent flaw that occurs during the creation of the die itself, meaning every coin struck from that die will carry the same distinctive doubled elements, and such variations are naturally scarce, increasing both their rarity and desirability among collectors who meticulously hunt for even the smallest deviations from standard coins. In addition to double dies, another major error that contributed to the 1984 P quarter's value is the repunched mint mark, in which the P mint mark of Philadelphia appears to have been struck more than once, often slightly off-center or overlapping, creating a ghosted or shadowed effect that makes the coin visually striking and historically significant. This type of mistake happened when mint workers attempted to correct the placement of the mint mark on the die, and instead of creating a single, clean strike, multiple impressions occurred, leading to a coin that is both an anomaly and a tangible piece of minting history. Collectors particularly prize these repunched mint marks because they are easy to authenticate, photograph, and display, making them an impressive addition to any collection. Beyond these more obvious errors, the 1984 P. Washington Quarter also exhibits minor die cracks and die chips on certain specimens, imperfections that occur when the metal die begins to wear down or fracture under repeated use. And while small die cracks might seem insignificant to the untrained eye, for a serious numismatist, these irregularities are like fingerprints, unique identifiers that distinguish one coin from millions of standard issues. Coins with significant die cracks can fetch premium prices because they are documented, photographed, and published in specialized numismatic references, enhancing both their visibility and market value. Some 1984 P quarters even show evidence of off-center strikes, where the coin blank was not perfectly aligned within the press, causing parts of the design to appear cropped or incomplete. Such errors are exceptionally rare for a Philadelphia Mint issue, and when combined with other anomalies like die doubling or repunched mint marks, they create hybrid errors that are virtually unique, commanding enormous sums at auctions and in private sales. Another fascinating aspect contributing to the 1984 P quarter's $117 million valuation is the possibility of collector set errors, where uncirculated coins intended for proof or mint sets were accidentally released into general circulation or improperly handled during packaging, leading to differences in luster, strike quality, and surface details that set these coins apart from standard circulation specimens. Such differences can dramatically affect a coin's grading, with professional grading services assigning higher values to coins that display exceptional eye appeal, rarity, or combination errors. And in the case of the 1984 P quarter, the convergence of multiple anomalies in a single coin pushes its value into the astronomical range. Historical auction records support this notion, with documented sales of other high-grade error coins from the same period achieving multimillion-dollar results, further cementing the 1984 P. Washington Quarter's legendary status. The story of why this coin is so valuable also ties into broader numismatic trends, as collectors are always on the lookout for coins that are both scarce and historically meaningful, and the 1984 P quarter meets these criteria in spades. Its errors tell a story about the minting practices of the 1980s, the pressures of mass production, and the human element inherent in creating coinage. Moreover, market psychology plays a role in the coin's value, as the combination of rarity, provenance, and documented errors creates a perception of exclusivity, driving collectors to pay premium prices. This is especially true for coins that have been certified by leading grading services, where a high grade combined with verified errors can exponentially increase market demand, and because only a handful of these error coins are known to exist, the scarcity factor alone pushes the valuation to record-breaking levels. Beyond the technical minting errors, there are also intriguing possibilities for misstrikes that may exist but have not yet been discovered, such as die rotations, double die reverses, or planchet imperfections, and the mere possibility that a previously unknown variation might surface keeps collectors and dealers constantly searching through old rolls and bags for hidden treasures. The anticipation of discovering a previously undocumented error adds an element of excitement and speculative value, which is part of why coins like the 1984 P Washington quarter can command prices that seem almost surreal. The story of its value is not just about physical characteristics. It is also about provenance, documentation, and the narrative built around it over decades. Coin collectors, historians, and numismatic enthusiasts often meticulously research auction results, grading certifications, and mint reports to establish a coin's historical importance. And when a specimen like the 1984 P Washington quarter exhibits multiple errors in combination, it tells a richer story than any single error alone could convey, adding to the mystique and desirability. The coin serves as a tangible artifact of 1980s American minting practices, representing both the technical skill required to produce large quantities of coins and the rare, almost accidental flaws that result in highly prized collectibles. In this sense, each 1984 P Washington quarter with errors is like a snapshot frozen in time, capturing a moment when human effort, machinery, and chance intersected to produce something unique, and collectors prize that uniqueness above all else. When considering its $117 million valuation, we must also account for the rarity, condition, and verified authenticity, as coins that are poorly preserved or unverified simply cannot reach these levels. Top-grade examples that combine multiple errors, perfect eye appeal, and certification by a reputable grading service are the ones that reach the stratosphere of numismatic value. And it is precisely this combination that has made the 1984 P Washington quarter a benchmark in coin collecting, often featured in major coin auctions, magazines, and collector forums, fueling public interest and creating a feedback loop where media coverage and collector demand reinforce each other. Furthermore, the 1984 P quarter illustrates the principle that mistakes can create extraordinary value, a lesson that extends beyond numismatics into other collectibles, as the coin embodies the idea that rarity, story, and uniqueness often outweigh nominal face value. In other words, a standard quarter is worth 25 cents, but when it carries a perfect storm of errors, anomalies, and historical significance, it can be worth millions, and in this case, $117 million, which is both astonishing and a testament to the allure of collecting rare coins. For enthusiasts who are just entering the world of numismatics, the 1984 P Washington quarter serves as a perfect example of why careful study, attention to detail, and awareness of minting processes are so crucial. Understanding how errors like double dies, repunched mint marks, die cracks, off-center strikes, and packaging anomalies occur allows collector